Yo, what's good, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and we are finally doing a suggested video. Like I said, you put the suggested videos in the Google Forms link, they will come to fruition, or they'll come true. I don't know, but we're doing it, and it's overrated and underrated NBA players. Today, I'm going to be doing underrated NBA players. Tomorrow, I'll be doing overrated NBA players. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're almost on 200 subscribers, which is pretty crazy considering we just hit 100 like a month ago. And yeah, like the video, go to the link, put the ideas here because they'll be done. Promise 100% it'll be done unless we got too many people doing it, which right now it's not a problem because we only have 200 subscribers. But you know, once we get growing a little bit and we got a lot of people in there, then I'm not so sure. Also, also don't put any dumb ideas in there because they will not be done. Obviously, I'm not going to do every single thing that's put in there, but I'm going to try to do everything that makes sense, and this right here makes a lot of sense. Let's jump right into it. Our first criminally underrated NBA player is the man himself, Jaylen Williams. I'm going to read you his stats right now. And keep in mind, he is the third option on his team. Also, his team is, the 1 seed? So, there's that as well. But 19 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4.5 assists, while shooting, get this, 54% from the field, 45% from 3, which is insane, and 81% from the line. Insane statistics. Not just for a regular NBA player, but for being the third option on a championship level team, I think we could say that right now, is insane. Right now, Jaylen Williams was the number 1 option on his team. You can't tell me he doesn't average more than 26 points per game and is an all-star. He's an insane NBA player, and I think one day when this Thunder team eventually splits apart because Jaylen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can't all make a max contract on the same team. One day, we'll see Jaylen Williams have his own keys and be his own bus driver because he has the potential to do that. Playing style-wise, but by the way, the 3 ball, having 45% from the 3, as a 6'5" power forward essentially, 6'6", we'll give him an extra inch. That's just crazy. And like I said before, third option on a championship team. Jaylen Williams has all-star potential. Right now, if I had to say, he is the third best player from that draft class. Arguably second. You know what? Actually, no, forget it. He's the second best player from his draft class, where it went Paolo Banchero number 1. Banchero number 1. Chet Holmgren number 2. And Jabari Smith number 3. And he was picked, 12th? 13th? Criminally underrated NBA player. Dropped in the draft because he was an older player out of college when he wasn't even that old out of college. First year in the NBA, he was 21 years old. He was a high riser at the end of the draft cycle, and right now I'm confident to say he's better than Chet Holmgren is. Creating his shot defensively is where he's also criminally underrated, and overall, Jaylen Williams is an absolute beast. Next up, we have the Kings center, Damont Sabonis. And before you say, oh, you're only naming good NBA, or not good NBA players, because they're all good NBA players, you're only naming all-star level players, just wait till the next couple. But for Damont Sabonis, before, obviously, I talk about his game, right now, he's averaging 20 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 8.5 assists per game. He was a snub from the All-Star game. And when the All-Star voting was happening, All-Star voting / selection was happening, he was averaging 18 points per game, 1 less rebound, so 2 less points, 1 less rebound, and half less assists. So he's got his points per game up since he was snubbed from the All-Star game. He's got his points per game up by 2, his rebounds by 1, and his assists by a half in just a minimal amount of games. That is absolutely insane. Now, I will admit that there are a lot of people out there who can admit that Sabonis is underrated, and there were people that believed that he should have been an all-star, like me myself. But when you're a center, averaging 20 points per game, 13 rebounds a game and 8.5 assists, being top 10 in the NBA in assists, there is no excuse why you should not be an all-star. You could say his defense, but honestly, his defense has improved heavily since his last 2 seasons with the Kings. Now, the last thing we look at when we decide is this player underrated or overrated is their efficiency. This season, while by the way averaging 20, 13, and 8, Damont Sabonis is shooting 62% from the field, 43% from 3, and for his sake, I'm not going to say his free throw percentage, just saying it's not over 70%. But overall, the fact that this man was snubbed from the All-Star game is insane. Damont Sabonis is the best player on his team. Keep in mind, he does have De'Aaron Fox on his team, who was also snubbed from the All-Star game. Sabonis is the best player on his team. When he was with the Pacers, he was also the best player on his team. I know Oladipo was there as well. But overall, Sabonis, just an amazing NBA player. And it is insane to me that he was left out of the All-Star game, averaging 8 assists to go along with 20 points and 13 boards as a big man. Now, before I end this segment, I'd like to shout out my dad because he's definitely the guy who kind of told me Sabonis was going to be this guy, going to be this great. Even when he was in college at Gonzaga, he saw the flashes when he was with the Thunder in his rookie season. He saw the flashes. So shout out to my dad for foreseeing Sabonis' greatness. And the fact, I'm just saying it over and over again, but the fact that this guy's not an all-star is ballistic. Next up, we have Devin Vassell on the San Antonio Spurs. And I know a lot of people watching this channel do appreciate and know Devin Vassell, but to read out his stats to begin, averaging 19 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Now, the main reason why I think he's underrated is because he does have one of the most generational players of all time on his team, in Victor Wembanyama, who, by the way, is having an insane rookie season, averaging 20, 10, and 3 blocks per game, leading the league. That's crazy by itself. But Vassell averaging 19 has kind of flown under the radar. What also has flown under the radar is the fact that he has improved every single season since he's entered the league. Efficiency-wise, Vassell is shooting 47 from the field and 37 from 3, along with 80% from the line, which is above league average, and just having this overshadowed by Victor Wembanyama. Now, no hate to Keldon Johnson, his teammate on the Spurs, but I think he's one of the reasons why we might not get to see the full potential of Devin Vassell. Keldon Johnson, at least before the season, started along Devin Vassell, and just like Devin Vassell, he was a guy who needed the ball in his hands to execute this team. Because last season, without Victor Wembanyama, this team really had no direction, with just having their best 2 players be wings in Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson. And at the end of the day, Vassell was the better wing. Defensively, 6'5", with a 6'11" wingspan, not only gets him in the passing lanes, but his shot is near unblockable. Overall, Devin Vassell is an extremely underrated NBA player. I think he has one of the highest potential. It does sound pretty crazy, but I think he does have all-star potential once this team gets sorted out through their future guards, because right now we do have Trey Jones, but I think once we bring maybe a new point guard in over this offseason, maybe a Nikola Topic, maybe someone in free agency who also has a pass-first mind, Devin Vassell can end up being an all-star type of player to go along with Victor Wembanyama. The next player we have is Jordan Hawkins on the New Orleans Pelicans. And before I begin, I'm going to tell you there is another New Orleans Pelicans player on here as well. Now, to start off with Jordan Hawkins' stats, it's a little underwhelming. 9.5 points, 3 rebounds, and barely over 1 assist. You assume that he's just an average to below average rookie. Looking at his efficiency, he's shooting 40% from the field, which a little below average, 38 from 3, which is pretty good. But the main problem with him is that his coach, Willie Green, barely plays him. Over the last 10 games, the Pelicans have given Jordan Hawkins multiple DNPs, which has really not allowed him to show his full shooting talent. In his rookie season, at least at the beginning of the season, he's broken many rookie three-point records. And when you have a guy who's able to shoot the 3 like Jordan Hawkins, not find a spot in this Pelicans rotation, maybe we have to look at somewhere in the coaching staff rather than the player himself. To go further on this, Jordan Hawkins is one of only 3 rookies this year to have multiple 30-point games, 34 against the Mavs and 31 against the Nuggets. And those 2 other players, Victor Wembanyama, Brandon Miller, Our starters, Jordan Hawkins is getting multiple DNPs and is right now not currently in the rotation despite Dyson Daniels having an injury. I actually read that wrong. There are two other rookies who have multiple 30 points per game this season, being Keontae George and Chet Holmgren. But even then, both George and Holmgren are starters on their teams, while Jordan Hawkins isn't even in his team's rotation. At the end of the day, a reason could be for his defense. But ask multiple Pelicans fans, they can tell you that there should be no reason why Jordan Hawkins doesn't get at least 20 minutes for them every single night. At the end of the day, Jordan Hawkins is criminally underrated and has been one of the best rookies so far this NBA season. Now with our last player on this list, we have Herb Jones of the New Orleans Pelicans. This year, Herb Jones is averaging 11 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and 2.5 assists per game. Now you might be telling yourself, okay, these are pretty okay numbers for a third-year NBA player, but really it goes a lot deeper than that. This season, Herb Jones is averaging 1.5 steals per game and a block a game to go along with his 50% shooting percentage from the field and his 41% shooting percentage from 3. This season, his corner 3 has improved exponentially since his previous 2 years. Also, that 41% three-point percentage is a 7% increase from last year's season. When we think about Herbert Jones, or Herb Jones, I don't know why I called him by his government, we think about his defense. In my opinion, and this is not just because I'm making this video, Herb Jones is easily a top 5 perimeter defender in this league and can defend any position 1 through 5. In my opinion, these last 2 years, Herb Jones should have easily been all defensive team 1 or 2, and overall a top 10 defender in this league, and his potential will keep on growing if his shooting potential grows as well. Just making more shots, the corner 3 keeps dropping, he's able to expand his game, maybe getting that floater in there as well, and overall Herb Jones not only has a bright future, but has a bright right now. He's an amazing NBA player, a criminally underrated NBA player. I'm saying it a lot, but it's true. And he just does so much for this Pelicans team that people really fly under the radar. People were calling his contract too big, or maybe he was slightly overrated because of the contract he got. And he's just proven everybody wrong. Also, some trade talks to the Hawks during this deadline, the Pelicans shut that down immediately. They know what they have in Herb Jones, and they cannot get rid of him. Those are your 5 underrated players in this league. And I'm not saying they're the most underrated players in this league, but I think they're 5 very notable ones. Players who are just falling under the radar. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Go into the description, put your video ideas, because just like this one, I promise I will do it. Like and subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow with our overrated NBA players. Peace.